Hi coaches, this is the sequel to the structural balance video. It's structural balance 5 years down the track. This is the GPP phase or structural balance phase for a current All Black that I train. I've trained him for 5+ years and he's just returned from the Northern Tour. So the first thing I do with him is a thorough assessment. I use a few screening tools. One I lean on heavily is the overhead squat. So if you can get the athlete to perform it really well and you can interpret it really well, it gives you a lot of information. As well as that, I look at any current or previous injuries and also any lifts or patterns or strength qualities that they've used really extensively over the last few months. So that could be back squat and bench press have been used a lot, and a lot of the lifting has been heavy relative strength lifting. And so I deliberately move away from those exercises, and together with the screening, I bias other areas. So I noticed a general lack of mobility. Now they don't need gymnastic level mobility, but it has to be decent to have a lower risk of injury. He had an old AC injury on the right shoulder, and that sort of resulted in the shoulder translating forward a little bit. I can definitely put the shoulder back into a better position and sit the scapula back down against the spine. Got quite a bit of winging there. He had a tight right adductor, a weaker medial hamstring on his right leg. He's actually a kicker, so it might relate to that. So some of the exercises I use in this program are actually effective across lots of muscle groups, something like a split squat or a lunge. They're quite a good exercise to use that'll cure a few problems. So we biased the posterior chain in this program. Day one is his first lower body day, and his first day exercise is a good morning with chains. Excellent accumulation exercise. It's quite a long time under tension, and it sort of matches the force curve with the chains being accommodating resistance. I won't show you through all the exercises, but the twisting back extension almost becomes a unilateral exercise. Just there's a lot of pressure through one foot then the other as you go through the set. On all the lower body days, we'll have addressed all the lower limb stuff. That's a common area of injury for players. So there's tibialis raises, seated calf raises, safety bar calf raises. So we address all the areas that need to be strong. On his upper body day, there's no barbell pressing. We're trying to get a bit of range of motion on all the structures in the front of the body. So there's neutral grip dumbbell pressing with a pause. There's Swiss ball flies, which are at a different angle and will get a bit more length through the pec minor. And then 2 exercises in a row that will target the interscapular muscles and the rear delts. On his day 3, I'm using a safety bar split squat, which will be a relatively heavy exercise. Like the dumbbell press, it's got a pause in the bottom. I'm trying to get some length on the anterior chain. And the A2 with that is a single leg seated calf raise. And the toe will be turned slightly in to try and target that medial hamstring on the right leg that's a bit weaker. There's some direct adductor work via Shorten Copenhagen, and some hip flexor work as well. There was a little bit of a difference between left to right there. His last upper body day, 60 degrees for a shoulder press with dumbbells was about the angle where he could really own that range. The shoulders were a wee bit tight, so if it was completely vertical, that probably wouldn't have been a good idea. In the B series, there's some work for serratus anterior, so I've got pullovers with dumbbells, and then a power raise with cables and a single arm dumbbell row. So if we go back to day 1, just to give you a bit of an example of how I'm biasing certain areas, we go to muscle group data and you'll see it's biasing the posterior chain pretty significantly. That was the area that we really needed to bring up in the lower body. So hopefully this has been useful for you. Happy to answer any questions.
So if you'd like to cut 70% off your program design time while retaining all the details that elite athletes need, contact us and we'll set up a demo for you to try FEAK Strength Training Software.